excited because we're filming at Parker's Corner Market in beautiful downtown Liberty Hill. I've got my Liberty Hill independent newspaper. You can pick that up at Parker's. I've got wine. I'm getting all my stuff ready for this meal that I'm going to cook. And, you know, I think that since it's getting close to Valentine's Day, it would be really awesome for me to show y'all a great, easy, quick, and elegant Valentine's meal that you can cook for your loved one at home.
Hey, Chef Reneé.
Hey, Monster, how you doing? Yeah, I'm finding everything great.
So what's for dinner?
Well, you know, we're coming up on Valentine's Day, so I thought a really good thing for us to do today is show the folks how to make a quick, simple, easy, and elegant Valentine's meal for them and their loved ones. So we're going to start with an apricot stuffed fennel rub pork tenderloin, yum, and then we're going to add to that a lemon scented couscous, very easy, and then we'll finish it up with a sauteed spinach with garlic and pine nuts. How's that sound to you?
All right, sounds great. I can't wait.
All right. Well, listen, I know you've got to get back to work, but when I get all done, can I call you over for a taste test?
Sure, I can't wait.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right.
Really?
All right, I'll call you in a little bit.
See you later.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started getting our pork tenderloin ready. The first thing that you're going to want to do is chop yourself up some nice dried apricots. You can get these usually in the produce section of the grocery store. Add to that a little bit of chopped onion. This is way too much, but go ahead and chop up extra onion because you're going to need that later in the recipe. And then you're going to have a little sugar, a little brandy, a little, my favorite, a little garlic, and some salt and pepper for this part of the recipe. So the first thing you want to do is smash your garlics. Just give it a good whack, just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing with the next one. Give it a good whack, okay? And that kind of smashes it up and releases some of those oils, and then you can go ahead and start chopping it up really nice. Okay. So then what we're going to do, you can just go ahead and put that in with your onion because you're going to cook it all together. So we're going to step over to the stove and go ahead and get our filling ready. So I have a little bit of butter heating in my pan here, just on a high heat, and I'd say 2 tablespoons of butter is plenty. When you start to hear it sizzle like that, you can go ahead and toss in just a generous handful of onions and garlic. Okay, just like that. Move it around a little bit because we don't want that garlic to burn. Oh, and you're going to start smelling that garlic when it starts to bloom. It smells yummy. Let that cook just a little bit. And then when you start to see your onion get a little translucent, that'll probably take 4 or 5 minutes. Go ahead and toss in your dried apricots. Just a little pinch of sugar. I'd say that's probably about a tablespoon of sugar. Give that a little stir. And then maybe a little salt and pepper. You know why chefs salt way up high like that? It's so that the higher that you are when you salt, the more the salt disperses and flavors all of the food. Plus, it looks really fun. Now then, when you see that you've got a good amount of cooking going on there, then you can go ahead and pour in your brandy. Now I do want to caution you, if you have an open flame like here, as you can see, I'm working on a gas stove, so you want to be careful. Go ahead and pour your brandy in, and it'll catch on fire. Woo! Nothing to be afraid of, but just go ahead and back away from the flame a little bit. Give it a little shake. And what that is the alcohol cooking off, and so you'll be left with the flavor of the brandy, but without the alcohol. It's just a neat little flambé trick that adds flavor to your stuffing. Okay, so that's all set. We can go ahead and turn our flame off and remove that to a container to let it cool. You'll want this to cool completely before you start trying to stuff your pork tenderloin. So this is definitely something you can do ahead, even the day before if you like, and let it sit out in the refrigerator. Okay, so this is the makings of our fennel spice rub, and this is going to be such a delicious rub. You're going to use it on a ton of things. You can sprinkle it over soups, you can put it over popcorn, you can put it over any kind of meat or fish. It's super, super tasty. I use it in my pantry all the time. So what we're going to have here is a cup of whole fennel seeds, 2 tablespoons of black peppercorns, whole black peppercorns, 3 tablespoons of whole coriander seed, and 3 tablespoons of coarse ground salt. Now this happens to be gray sea salt just because I like the taste of it, but any salt will do. So we're going to grind it in a spice grinder, or you may know this as a coffee grinder if you're a coffee fan. I have one that I use for grinding coffee, and then I have this one that I use specially just for grinding spices. So the way that we're going to do that is just dump everything into a big bowl so we can mix it, because of course the cup is not big enough to do all the spices at once. You know, you can also, if you have a pretty high powered blender, you can also use that to mix your spices as well. Set up, you're going to need some sort of a roasting pan, so that can be as simple as a little cookie cooling sheet inside of a cookie pan, or if you have one of those nice expensive roasting pans, that's good to use as well. I'm going to go ahead and move our vegetables because I want to make sure that we don't have any risk of cross-contamination with our meat as we're getting prepped here. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and prep our meat. Now you can see they usually will come 2 to a pack. So what you want to do here, just to make it easier to work with, is go ahead and cut it in half. 1 will be plenty to feed 2 people. Okay, so for this process, you can use any sort of cylindrical object. So I'm using my knife steel here, but you could use the end of a round spoon or a piece of PVC pipe, anything that is cylindrical in nature. So what you're going to do is just go ahead, hold down on your piece of pork, find the center, and just start pushing it through. You're going to push it all the way through so that it comes out the other side, like a meat shish kebab. Okay, go ahead and pull that out. Do the other side, the other half of the pork. And if you keep your hand moving with the object that you're pushing through, you'll be able to feel if it's starting to push through the meat at the point where you don't want it to be. Let's put that to the side because we're going to sanitize that later. So what you're going to do then is put your finger in the hole that you've made, playing with your food again. Go ahead and, just kind of make the hole bigger with your fingers. The meat's pretty tough. It's not going to come apart on you. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find the hole on the other end, so just kind of keep working at it till you find it. Okay? Your fingers will meet in the center so you know you've got it right. All right? Then the next thing you're going to do is take a couple of pieces of twine and you'll tie off one end. Now here's a trick that's going to keep your twine in place. This is good if you're trying to truss a chicken or any kind of thing like that where you've got to tie up a piece of meat. It helps it hold its shape, and this will keep it from coming untied. When you cross it like a shoelace, and then cross it again. Then pull it tight, and then tie it off. Okay? Like that. So you've got that one ready. Now we're going to do the other one. Cross it again, pull it tight. And go ahead and pull that one tight, okay? So now you can just cut off the ends of those strings. Just to make it nice and neat. And now you're ready to stuff. So you're going to take your stuffing that you made earlier. It's cooled off where you can touch it now. Just kind of stand it up on end like that and start putting stuffing in it. Just kind of keep poking it down in that hole. And if you'll put about half the stuffing in each side, then they'll be even and equal when you get ready to cut them. And it's going to be really pretty inside. It'll have kind of a smoky, sweet, salty taste, and it really adds to the flavor of the pork. Apricot and pork always goes really well together. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. We can wash our hands afterwards. And you can kind of feel when it starts to get full and not much more will go in. Stop just a little bit. See, there's maybe a quarter of an inch there at the end where there isn't any stuffing, because you'll need that to be able to tie it off. So you can set that one aside. Go ahead and stuff the other one. And just do the same procedure there. You know, I said this meal is for Valentine's Day. My husband John and I used to go out all the time for Valentine's. We'd make a big deal of it and make a big reservation and go to some fancy restaurant. And every year I had this sort of dissatisfaction with the day. And I came to discover, or decide, I guess, that I didn't think it was all that romantic to go out to a restaurant. It's noisy, there were lots of crowds, you couldn't really have a conversation, it just wasn't very romantic. So then I started coming up with these special meals that I could cook at home on Valentine's, and it made the evening really nice. So you guys can do that too, it'll be fun. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get my hands washed up, and then I'll show you how to tie off the other side. Okay, so you're going to get 2 more lengths of string, just like you did before, and you're going to tie it off at the other end. About ½ inch from the end is good, and this is just going to keep the filling inside while you're cooking it. Okay? Trim those ends off just to make it a little neater. Okay, so now you've got it all tied up here on the end. So the next thing that you're going to do is take a little Dijon mustard with a little paintbrush. You sell these in all kinds of grocery stores. Be sure to use one that you've only used for food. And you're just going to paint Dijon mustard all over your pork. You want it on all sides, and don't forget the ends, because those are going to be good pieces to eat as well. Okay. Let's let that rest on our rack. Get the other one ready. The Dijon mustard just adds really a great flavor. And it helps to keep the meat moist. One thing that happens with pork sometimes is, because it's a white meat and pork tenderloin doesn't typically have a whole lot of fat, it'll tend to dry out as you cook it. So if you have a crust on it like this, it will help it to stay moist as it cooks. So then what you're going to do is take your fennel rub and just start rubbing it all over the meat. You can even just put it on a plate and roll the meat around in it, whatever works the best for you. And that's one reason I use it, do it on a rack like this, because you can contain the mess. When you make your spice rub, it's going to make more than what you need for this pork. Just go ahead and keep that in a covered plastic container wherever you keep your spices. See, it's covered really, really well there. And then you'll be able to use it indefinitely. It'll keep indefinitely, as long as your spices keep. Be sure to get enough on the ends. We don't want to forget about those. Make sure it's covered really nice. Every restaurant I've ever worked in, the chef always says, make it nice. All right, so now it's covered, it's ready to go. I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes, and then we'll start taking its temperature and make sure that it's done all the way through, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So while our pork tenderloin is cooking, we can go ahead and get started on our lemon-scented couscous. This is going to be a great addition, and it really makes this meal quick and easy. You can get the whole thing done in 45 minutes. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is add says 1 to 1 cup of chicken stock to 1 cup of couscous. I like to do just a tad more than that, so maybe 1.25 cups of chicken broth. That'll give it a nice flavor. And then to that, you're going to add 1 bay leaf, a sprig of fresh thyme, give it just a little sprinkle of salt, and then you're going to add some lemon peel. I have some lemon peel that I've already taken care of here, but I'm going to show you how to do lemon peel because there's some important things to know. Lemon peel is delicious. It has a lot of essential oils in it that is really going to make this couscous smell wonderful, and it's going to make it taste wonderful. But when you're working with lemon peel, what you want to do is take your little peeler, and you want to avoid, see that white part? That's called pith. You want to avoid that pith. You just want to have the lemon peel part. If you get the pith in there, that's going to taste really bitter. So avoid that part. So go ahead and toss your lemon peel in there. And then to that, go ahead and squeeze in 1/2 of a lemon. I hold my hand underneath it just to catch any seeds. And then you can let this go ahead and cook on the stovetop until it comes to a boil. And then at that point, we'll go ahead and add our couscous. So I'm going to put it on the stovetop, and then we'll add our couscous here in just a minute or two. Okay, so then you can see our chicken stock is coming to a boil now. So as it comes to a full rolling boil, we'll go ahead and add our couscous in. Stir it to make sure it gets mixed in really well. Couscous is a really interesting grain. It is a Moroccan grain that is made of semolina, so it's a little like a pasta. Go ahead and turn your flame off at this point and put that lid on really tight. And then you're just going to leave it alone, let it sit, and what will happen is the steam from the boiling of the chicken stock will go ahead and cook that couscous. So you can set it off on the back burner and be ready to work on your spinach. Okay, so it's been about 35 minutes. Let's go ahead and check on our pork. Now, it's really important to test your meat with a thermometer to just make sure that it's up to the right temperature. They say for pork it should be somewhere around 165. I personally find it a little dry at 165, so I do it at about 150. I'll take it out of the oven, and then you'll find that the residual heat will go ahead and bring it on up to temperature as it sits and rests on up to temp for you. Looks like we're just about done, so we'll go ahead and take it out of the oven. And then what you should do at this point is go ahead and grab yourself a piece of foil and just loosely tint it. It doesn't have to be really tight, but just enough to help it hold in the heat. And then you're just going to sit this off to the side for about 15 minutes or so and let that the juices redistribute before you start slicing it. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and toast those pine nuts for your spinach dish. And for this, you're going to use a dry pan. All I did was wipe out the pan that I used earlier to make the stuffing for the pork tenderloin. And so it's just a dry pan. You don't put any oil or anything in it. Go ahead and put your pine nuts in. You're going to give this pan a little shimmy shake once in a while. That's going to toast these nuts. They're going to start to release their oils and be pine nutty yumminess. So the purpose in shaking the pan once in a while is just to keep it from cooking too much on one side. You don't want what we call that black-eyed pea effect. So you want to keep those nuts moving around in the pan. Okay, so one thing we have left to do before we're ready to eat is cook up our spinach. Spinach is done at the last minute. It doesn't take any time at all to saute, so you're just going to do it really quick right before you're ready to put the food on the plate. So just put a little bit of oil in the pan. It doesn't take very much. And go ahead and put your garlic in there. Now with garlic, you want to be careful. You don't want it to cook too long by itself because it will start to burn and then it tastes bitter. We don't like bitter garlic. We love garlic, but we don't like bitter garlic. So that you only need to let that cook about 30 seconds or so, just so you can really start to smell it. It smells wonderful. And then you can go ahead and put your spinach in. Don't salt the spinach ahead of time because what happens is the leaves are really delicate and the salt will burn the spinach. So go ahead and put just the raw spinach in the pan. This looks like a lot of spinach, but I promise you it's going to cook down where it's going to be just enough for 2 servings. Hear that splattering as I throw it all over the place. We don't want to lose any spinach because it's wonderful. Now you're just going to kind of toss, gently move it around the pan. And it's only going to take a couple of minutes to wilt down to the point that it's ready to serve. So as it starts to wilt down a bit, see how it's already losing volume? As it starts to lose that volume, make sure you're moving it around the pan so you're not letting that garlic burn underneath. At that point, you can go ahead and give it a generous pinch of salt. And then right at the end, go ahead and toss in those pine nuts that you've toasted up. Oh my gosh, that smells wonderful. And that's all there is to it. You're going to go ahead and put it back in your bowl, and you'll be ready to plate up as soon as we've carved that meat. Okay, so that couscous has been sitting for about 15 minutes or so. Let's check on it and make sure it's ready. Oh, that smells like lemony goodness. So just kind of fluff it up with your fork a little bit. Go ahead and take out those pieces of thyme and extra lemon. We don't want to serve those to our guests. Your bay leaf. It's not going to be so bad if they get a lemon peel, but they certainly don't want to chomp down on a big bay leaf. Let's get all the rest of those little pieces of lemon out. It flavors it wonderfully, but we might not want to chomp down in it. And just rake your fork through it, and that's going to fluff it right up so that it's ready to serve. And also give you the opportunity to find any little stray pieces hiding down in there. You can go ahead and toss a little of your parsley in with it. See how pretty that green color is with the couscous? All right, we'll go ahead and take that over to our plating area so we can get our meal plated up. All right, so we're ready to go. Meat out of its resting pan. It's been resting for about 15 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and slice our meat, and then we're going to be ready to eat, my favorite part of the day. You don't even need to worry about cutting off this string because you're going to cut past it. That's just going to be a little Scooby snack for you. You deserve that because you're the one who has cooked. So kind of hold it together, slice down through it. Let's get rid of that. And we want to keep slicing until we come to our beautiful filling in the center. That is going to be so yummy. Slice it about, let's say, 1/2 inch thick slices, and it will ooze out a bit. That's okay, just let it stay. And I like to be able to give everybody about 5 slices. So then you've got your other little Scooby snack, okay? Then you're just going to do the same thing with the other little piece. If you find an extra string hanging around, go ahead and pull that off. And the reason I'm letting it stay like this is because then when we arrange it on the plate, it's going to make a really pretty presentation. You don't want to go moving each piece to the side because then your filling is going to come out and you're going to be unhappy with your presentation. Or string to the side. You've got a little piece that you can snack on. Yum. Okay, now we're ready to plate up. Okay, the moment has arrived. We can go ahead and plate up. So the way I would work this is, I would take my couscous first. Get yourself a big spoon. Make sure all the little, just double check it one more time. Make sure all the little things that you cooked in there are out. Here's a generous portion for me. here's a generous portion for Majda. She's going to be my Valentine's guest today. She was so nice to let us come and cook in her kitchen. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. And then everybody gets a little spinach. Give it a little shake around so you can make sure you get a little bit of everything. Everybody needs a little bit of garlic, a little bit of pine nuts. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. Now I know why Emerald always says that you need smell-o-vision, because this is incredible. And then last but not least are beautiful pieces of meat. I think I'm gonna do 5 pieces for each person. What you can do is just put them on there all together and then fan them out a little bit. And see how pretty that makes it on the plate? Okay. And then you can do the same thing with this one. 5 little pieces. Put them on there, and then just kind of fan them out really nice. 2 beautiful plates. Majda is going to be a happy, happy lady. Okay, I'm going to take this out. I think she's waiting for me on the porch. I'm going to take this out, and we are going to have ourselves a feast. Okay, Majda, here we are. Are you ready for a taste test?
Absolutely, yum.
All right.
Yum. Let's see.
Well, I may not be as good a dinner partner as your husband, but we'll see how it is. Tell me what you think.
Okay, what do I eat first? Whatever you want. Couscous.
I'm a meat girl. I like to taste the meat.
It's delicious.
That's yummy, huh?
Oh, the garlic, yum. That's good. And I like the pine nuts in this. It's really nice.
Well, Majda, thank you so much for letting us borrow your kitchen today.
Oh, you're
It's been a
welcome.
lot of fun.
You're welcome. You can try it again.
Well, I hope this makes a really fabulous Valentine's meal for you. Salute.